Hey guys, I'm back. Know it's been a couple days. Hey, wife had the days off. Figured I'd spend time with her. So I've been doing a little more research. Go figure, right? And I started researching stuff. More importantly, started researching stuff about Corona. Not the beer, the disease. Now, if you listen to the news, which most people do because they don't have time or they just believe everything the news throws at your ass. If you listen to the news, the coronavirus is an epidemic and everybody in the world's going to get it. It's going to be worse than swine flu. It's not worse than swine flu. What in the world happened? Oh, it's the back of the mirror. Anyway, it's not worse than swine flu. For starters, only 2 people in the United States have actually died from it. Well, from the disease that goes with the coronavirus. Now, there is testing going on. Their first test completely failed. Everybody's saying, oh, well, Trump's not doing the right thing. Trump's not doing this. Trump's not doing that. It's really not up to Trump. It's up to the health department. His experts are the ones who are doing it. And one of the funny things is I was watching this the other day, an interview with one of the main dudes that are one of the experts. They said, well, what about all this shushing that's going on? All this basically blackwalling people. And the guy said, he's not blackballing me. If he was, I wouldn't be on here. See, swine flu itself started in China. Anybody who doesn't believe that is an idiot. Anyway, swine flu started in China. These guys, their government, kept it hush-hush for 6 months. I mean, there were ripples of people talking about it, but the majority of it, they kept it in China until it could not be contained. In fact, one of the doctors who first came out and said it said, hey, by the way, there's this new virus. It is deadly for elderly people or people with respiratory problems. We should do something about this. And the Chinese government shushed him. They threw his ass in jail for it. Ironically, the said doctor died of the coronavirus. Said doctor was like 70 or 60 or 70 years old. He's an older dude. He had respiratory problems. Now, there are no known cases of somebody dying that's my age. I'm 30. So, basically anybody under the age of, say, about 55, yes, you may get sick. It's going to hurt like hell, but it's not going to kill you. They said, oh, it's going to be bad for the infants. There have been no cases of anybody under the age of 9 dying. In America, only 2 people died. One was 50, the other one was like 55 or 60. Like I said, both had respiratory problems, all that. Now, around the world, you gotta remember, out of everybody in the world, we have the best healthcare. If you listen to Bernie Sanders and a lot of the Democrats, America is the worst country in the world, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not, you dumb fucks. And basically what they're doing is they're trying to start making people worried. And on a side note, what is it with people buying toilet paper? All these people have bought a crap ton of toilet paper. I mean, are you really that worried that you can't wipe your own ass? That you're going to buy carts and carts of toilet paper? We went to Walmart the other day and there was no toilet paper there. There's usually like a half of an aisle of toilet paper. All different varieties. All gone. All the bottled water, gone. It's like, dude, seriously? It's like, you guys are retarded. The last thing that you're going to have to worry about is wiping your ass. And the coronavirus you cannot get from drinking normal water. You can get water right out of your sink and be just fine. You don't believe that's going to be good? Get a filter, it'll be just fine. You can go to Walmart, get a filter for $20. One of those Brita filters or whatever the hell they're called. Now, doing some light reading the other day. This is going to offend some people because they're fucking idiots and they don't actually watch the full video. I was looking up quotes from the BLM for those of people that, are normal people and they don't go by political norms and racial politics. BLM stands for Black Lives Matter. Now, every quote that I saw, all it is it's victimhood. All these guys are saying, I'm a victim, I'm oppressed because of a white male. No, you're not. You're not oppressed, because if you're oppressed, you wouldn't be able to be saying this in the first place. Being oppressed means they are holding you down. They're not going to let you do anything or say anything. That is the definition of oppression. They're not oppressing you. Just like the third wave feminism. Same thing. Saying that men, white men, not men in general, white males only, are oppressing women. No, we're not. Because if we were, you wouldn't be able to say what you're saying. We don't oppress people. And when I say we, I mean the United States in general. I'm not saying we as in white people only. Oppression doesn't exist anymore. Just like the whole either I need a better lighter or I need to start smoking better cigars. Anyway, just like this whole white privilege. The person very close to me said, well, I have inherent white privilege. I have inherent privilege because I am white. No, I don't. And for someone to sit there and say that makes that specific person a bigot. Because they automatically assume that because I'm white, that I have some kind of better life. My life is just as fucked up as hers. Like I said before, oppression doesn't exist. Nobody is oppressing you. Nobody is judging you by your skin color and saying, oh, well, you can't work here because you're black, or you can't work here because you're a female, or you can't work here because you're Mexican. No, they're not saying that. If you go and do an interview, you gotta show the best side of you. I'm not saying, for me, my best side is my wife. I'm not going to walk in with an interview with my wife in my hand. But you're not going to sit there you're not going to walk into an interview to a job sagging your jeans or, speaking what they call slang, which is just Southern talk. You want to hear slang, just go down to Texas. You'll hear it all over the place. It's not slang, it's what rednecks talk about. It's how we talk. I find it ironic that slang is so popular and is the best way to talk to a woman these days. That's just Southern drawl right there. Every word they use, we use. White people use too. And everybody's like, oh, you copied us. No, we didn't. It makes you sound uneducated. And I'm not saying that everybody in Texas is uneducated. I'm not saying that. I mean, I used to make a joke saying everything's bigger in Texas except for the IQs. I mean, I have met some pretty stupid people, and they did happen to be from Texas, but that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that everybody from Texas is a complete, utter moron. Now, like I was saying about this whole, oh, we're oppressed because of this. No, you're just playing victim. You're literally playing into the hands of victimology right there. Or victimhood, sorry. For you dum-dums, victimology is when you're trying to understand the victim of a killer. The person who was murdered. That's victimology. You're trying to get into the mind of that person. That's victimology. Understanding why this person was killed, what the type of the kill was. That's victimology. Victimhood means you always assume that you're the victim, that you're the target of somebody's hatred, and you're not. There have been laws and laws and laws, countless laws, passed Hell, in the last 50 years, easily. Making it to where no job can say no to you just because of your skin color, your sexual orientation, or your sex. Now, there might be jobs out there that are like that. Show me these jobs, and like I said before, I will stand right next to you and fight these fuckers with you. Until you can show me the evidence, stop trying to say you're being oppressed. You're not. You're getting paid as much as I am, if not more. You know, hell, it's easier now to be black, white, or Mexican, or whatever, than it was 50 years ago. 50 years ago, yeah, it was pretty fucked up for, blacks and Mexicans and women. Now it's not. We're all equal. It's just a skin tone. Has nothing to do with your skin tone on why your life is crap. And by the way, your life isn't crap, okay? A lot of these people are like, "Oh, I've been oppressed. My life sucks." Blah. Your life does not suck, dude. You got clothes on your back, you got a roof over your head, and if you have a job, you will succeed. But stop spending money on stupid shit. That's all you got to do. Save your money. Instead of spending money on, I don't know, shoes or whatever the fuck people get in these days. How about you save your money? I got 2 pairs of shoes. I wear them until they literally have no soles on them left. That's what you should do. They're just shoes. You shouldn't go by what people care about the way you look. I'm wearing a Gucci shirt, so I'm wearing a white t-shirt. I can buy 5 for $5 at Walmart. Can I afford more? Yes, I can, because I have a job and I know how to save my money. Like I said again, it has nothing to do with skin color. I mean, sure, racism still exists. Sexism still exists. Homophobia still exists. But in the workplace, it doesn't happen. Nobody's going to not hire you because you're black or Mexican or a woman. If they do, you can sue that company easily. And that company will be shut the fuck down. But every time I look at these, and I've seen all the... Ah, shit. Sorry. Light went out. I've seen all the supposed evidence they have. All the stories they have. And the worst part is, there's no evidence of any of it. People are so blinded with hatred these days that they don't realize that hatred starts with them. If you're going to judge me just because I'm a white dude thinking that I automatically have a better life than you, you're the one being racist, not me. You're judging me by my skin color. That is the definition of racism. I mean, come on. One of the major quotes of the BLM, and like I said, I study this stuff. One of the major quotes of the BLM was, I'm oppressed because of a white guy. A white guy did this. Okay, 150 years ago was when we ended slavery. Actually, a little more than that now. Yes, some of my family may have owned slaves. Does not mean that I'm a slave owner. It does not mean that I owe you a damn thing. It does not mean that you're still being oppressed 150 years after the fact. There's a reason why we came out with the Emancipation Proclamation. And like I said before, if you're so oppressed, why is it on the SATs that black children get a 150 point bonus on their thing? How are you oppressed? It's like I said in every one of the videos I ever talk about this stuff. Racism is stupid, sexism is immoral, and homophobia makes you look like a bigoted jackass. And a lot of people that I know that became atheists, they said that religion made them say some of the dumbest shit. And I brought up religion because religion is the reason why all this shit happened. But, I digress. I don't want to get into religion today. The SJWs, who are a bunch of white kids that are filthy rich. For people out there that don't know what SJWs are, they're called social justice warriors. Mainly in big cities like, New York, college campuses have a lot of them. You know, and I blame college professors for pushing these stupid views. Instead of educating somebody the way you should, you hide behind a hatred banner. Hating the white man, hating the United States. If you hate the United States, get the fuck out of here then. If you honestly hate us, if you honestly hate the United States so bad, then get the fuck out. You know, there's billions of people trying to cross the border every day. Or sorry, not billions, millions of people. You know, Mexicans, Asians, Russians, you name it, they're trying to get here. If you really think that the United States is that terrible, then why is it everybody's trying to come here? We're not trying to go over there. We're not illegally trying to get over there. They're trying to come over here. So obviously, our country is a really good country. I mean, it's literally in one of the titles, the land of the free and home of the brave. We are the freest country in the world. In most places, women don't have the right to talk unless their husbands say okay. And even then, they are restricted on what they can say. You think that America is racist? Have you been to Afghanistan or Iraq? You don't see black people there. You don't see white people there. All you see are Arabs. Because they kill everybody else. I mean, it's common sense, man. If they're trying to come over here, apparently our country is better than theirs. If they're honestly trying to come over here. I mean, this should be common sense to people by now. You know, we have people from Nigeria. We have people from Africa. We have people from, obviously, Mexico and South America. We have people from Canada coming down here. I mean, Canada's like the nicest country in the world. I mean, what's going to happen? You're going to run into somebody, oh, I'm sorry, buddy. That's all you're going to get. You know, there are Chinese immigrants coming over here. People from Ireland, Scotland, England. You know, all these countries all over the world, all the people are trying to come here because they like the way we are. They like the freedoms they have. In England, you don't have the right to secrecy. You're being videotaped on a national level. You don't have the right to bear arms. They took all guns away. You know, in Canada, yes, they're like, oh, we should have a healthcare like Canada. Why? You know, it's free healthcare, yes. That sounds good, yes. Anything free sounds good. If you actually look into it, you gotta wait 30 years to get seen by a doctor. You know, yes, our healthcare is expensive. And depending on what part of the United States you live in, it is going to be more expensive. Obviously, you live in Florida or you live in California, it's going to be skyrocketed. Because everybody wants to be there. You know, a gallon of milk in Kansas is a couple bucks. Gallon of milk in California is like $10. I was like, oh, well, you get paid more. Yeah, the cost of living is outrageous. I was talking to a waitress that works at one of the restaurants here the other day. She came from California. She had a 1-bedroom hole in the wall, was paying almost $2,000 a month. She moved here, got a house, and is paying $750 a month. I mean, that is a huge difference. And she has a 3-bedroom house. That's $750 a month for the house. That's not including bills and water, so the whole thing together is costing her less than it did just to rent out the place. That's not including all her bills that she had to pay. So yes, living in the Midwest is cheaper. So yes, our minimum wage is down. It depends on where you're at, man. And anytime someone says, oh, I'm oppressed. No, you're not. Especially when someone says, oh, I'm oppressed and they have a job. If you're oppressed, you wouldn't be able to have a job, you twat. You know, everybody's, like I said before in my last video, they said that my videos incite racism and sexism and homophobia. How? I don't incite anything. I don't tell people, hey, go hate this person. I'm telling them the exact opposite. Don't hate this person. You know, if we really wanted America to prosper, why don't we all just get the fuck along? I mean, yeah, sure, I like antagonizing religious people because they're fun to antagonize. They're easy to piss off. Doesn't mean I hate the people. I don't hate religious people. I don't hate flat earthers. I mean, yeah, their ideology in my eyes is dumb, but I don't hate the person because of what they believe. You know, you believe what you want. But if you're going to try to force it on me or force it on somebody I know, I'm going to shut you down. Because you shouldn't be able to force your beliefs on somebody else. And that's what SJWs do. Especially in college campuses. In college campuses, they're teaching people, the professors are teaching people that America is terrible, that being a white man is somehow just completely wrong. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, for one, you're a white dude telling me this. Nobody sees the irony here. You know, they talk shit about being rich. If you made yourself rich, you earned that shit. I have no reason to talk shit on you. Nobody has a reason to talk shit on you. If you made the money by yourself, say you built a company, you built that bitch up, and you have the money because you earned it, there's no reason to hate. You know, I can't hate somebody for born with a silver spoon in their mouth. And again, I've seen it through all the races, not just white people. It is not a racial thing. And they keep trying to push this shit on people, saying, "Oh, well, it's because they're oppressed." Wait a minute. They're oppressed, yet this fucker's driving around in a Bentley that his mommy and daddy bought him when he was 18 years old. How is that oppressed? When his parents die, he's going to inherit millions. How is that oppressed? And again, people who tell me that I'm inherently racist, you can inherently lick my fucking balls. Like I said, when I was younger, I hung out with the wrong crowd, so I was guilty by association. That doesn't just happen with black people and Mexicans, it happens with white people too. I think the reason why they think that some of these are racial is because I refuse to use the word African American or Mexican American. I don't see the point in it. Political correctness is what's destroying this country right now. You know, just like the whole rape culture they have. If I walk up to a woman and compliment her on her shirt, if she doesn't like who I am or doesn't like what I said, that's instantly a microaggression. Like, I literally just offended her somehow by giving her a compliment about her shirt. I didn't sit there and say, "Hey, nice boobs." I didn't say, "I like your ass in those jeans." I just said, "You got a nice shirt. I like your ring. I like your hair." You can't compliment anybody. You can't open a door for a female anymore without that said female or another female getting mad about it. I can do it myself. Well, fine, fuck you too, bitch. Next time I'll slam the door in your face. You know, it's like I said the other day. Chivalry is not dead. It's just hiding because people are too scared to be nice. You know, like I said, I was raised by my mom and my dad. You know, when he came in when I was still prepubescent, I was like 7, 8, or 9, somewhere around there. But I mean, he's still my dad. They raised me properly. I mean, granted, I didn't have the best life in the world, but I can't blame them for that. I blame myself because I made stupid-ass decisions. But the one thing they did tell me is give respect, you earn respect. If you're in front of a woman, you open the door for her. If she's sitting down at a table, you politely stand up and you give her your hand. She doesn't have to take it, but it's the thought that counts. You know, we need to help each other. This whole bullshit about being oppressed by the white man is driving a wedge deeper and deeper in between us to the point to where America is going to be completely divided once again because of these stupid ass fucking political bullshit. All this political crap is just going to affect America worse than it did way back when. Like, I was talking to her about the riots, the one who told me that I'm inherently racist, saying, you know, these riots are stupid. She's like, well, we have to riot to make our point. But who are you rioting against? The black mayor, the black commissioner, the black police chief, or all the cops? And there's like 15 of them, or not the cops, but the little mayor council, if you will. There's 15 of them, and 9 of those guys are black, and they all vote Democrat. Who are you fighting against? Who are you writing against? Nobody. You're basically writing against yourself. You're destroying property of black owners. Black people who own these things. And you're destroying their property. You know, not only white people are scared to walk out in the streets, black people are too. You know, these riots, there's no point in them. You know, she's like, oh, we have to do a riot. Really? What about the Million Man March? Look at all the good that did. It did a lot of good. And there was not one riot. There was nobody trampling police officers. There was nobody chasing a white dude down the street to go beat his ass and everybody cheering him on. There was none of that. You don't have to you don't have to have violence or incite violence to get your way. You know, all these stupid ass little, I call them cults because that's basically what they are. All these stupid ass cults all are saying the same thing. Fuck you, white man. Why? Why fuck you, white man? Yes, 150 years ago, we fucked up. 150 years ago, man. That was a long time ago. Look at what we're doing now. All of us. Not just whites, not just blacks, not just Mexicans. All of us. Anytime we are united, we thrive. When 9/11 happened, we were united. Not only did we kick those fuckers, just demolish their asses, the United States was happy again. You know, we were doing great. After a while, it started crumbling. SJW came around, BLM came around, the New Age feminism came around, and now we're at war again. But it's not across seas, now it's at war in our own country. The United States. It's in the name. We should be united. We shouldn't be fighting each other. This whole oppression thing just needs to go away. Yes, way back in the day, you were oppressed. I'm sorry. You know, you want an apology there. I'm sorry. It's the first time you'll actually get an honest apology out of me, because honestly, I could give a shit less about people's feelings. But if it makes you feel better, I'm sorry. I will honestly take it upon all the white fuckers out there. I apologize for what my ancestors did that had nothing to do with me. It was funny, I was talking to one of my buddies that works at the gas station down the street. And she said a black guy came up to her the other day and was talking about oppression, talking about slavery and everything. And she was like, well, I'm Jewish. How does that make me feel? You know, nobody says anything about that. I mean, look what happened in the Holocaust. According to the Bible, they've been slaves their whole lives, man. They were slaves in Egypt. They were slaves to every other freaking tribe out there. They were all but slaughtered almost completely in Germany. Yet nobody has anything to say about that. I mean, if anybody has a right to bitch, look, they do. And I mean, this was in memory. This is in the past 100 years. Hell, the past 60 years. This happened. You know, if anybody has the right to bitch about someone being racist to racist towards, or someone that had oppression, it was the Jewish people. And these guys went through hell, literally. And a lot of them didn't make it. You know, I told a joke once, and again, it's a joke. It's not what I believe, it's a joke. A guy was sitting there talking about oppression, talking about, oh, I'm black, so I'm oppressed, blah, blah, blah. You know, my great-great-great-great-so-great-grandparents were slaves, blah, blah, blah. I was like, and, you know, after about an hour of listening to this fucking garbage he was saying, he doesn't even know his ancestors. He did an ancestry test right out of high school. The fucker's from Sydney, Australia. They weren't oppressed out there. Anyway, that's further on down the line. He kept doing this. I was like, you know what? Obviously, your great-great-great-so-on-great-grandparents were good slaves, because you're here. If they weren't good slaves, they would have been killed. And he got pissed, which I mean, I understand why he got pissed. But again, it was a joke. You know, people need to learn, a joke is a joke. They're just words. If you have to be little bunny foo-foo, I get hurt after everything you do. If you have to be one of them, why, for one, are you talking to me? Because I will spout off a joke. I don't care who you are, what color you are, what sexual orientation you are. I will spout off a joke. You know, it does get me in trouble. My wife does give me dirty looks when I do some really fucked up jokes. But they're jokes. It's not something I believe. It's just a joke, man. Grow up. You know, oh, you're not being politically correct. Okay. And? You hurt my feelings. And? You're just being a dick. And? I mean, again, these people say I don't have the right to say what I want to say, but they have the right to offend me. They have the right to say whatever they want, saying everything is bad because of a white man, and they look directly at me when they say it. So I'm like, fuck you guys, okay? If you think everything that's bad in the world happened because of a white dude, you can lick my rebel dick. And when I say rebel, I'm not saying rebel as in rebel without a cause, let's go lynch. No. I'm saying rebel is because I'm rebellious in nature. I rebelled against the church. That's why I'm an atheist. I rebelled against my teachers, which is probably one of the reasons why I got kicked out a lot. I don't believe in political correctness. Great example. If I ever had to go testify and they told me to put my hand on the Bible, I was like, do you swear to tell the whole truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Sure. I swear as much truth as that damn book does. That's basically me saying, I'm going to lie to you. No, I'll tell you the truth, because it's the truth. You know, like one of my buddies always told me I was a pansy ass, because he's like, well, if I wouldn't kill this guy, would you say anything? And I was like, if they caught me up, you damn right I would. I'm not going to take the fall for you. Like, oh, I'm in prison because I took my homies back. I ain't no punk. No, you a dumb bitch is what you are. You didn't do it. They did. Let them take the blame for it. Let them get the fuck up for it. You don't take the blame for something that somebody else did. That's the epitome of retarded. And again, when I say retarded, I'm not talking about somebody who's mentally handicapped. When I say the word retard, I mean somebody who has the mental capacity to be able to do everything that anybody else can, but you choose to do stupid shit. That guy's retarded. There was a joke that Christopher Titus said a long time ago. He said, "This is what I call a retard." Everybody has a buddy that after a few beers will be hanging out the car window saying, "Hey cops, you bunch of queers, you want to fight?" That's a retard. People who just do dumb shit, retards. In fact, I have respect for anybody who's mentally handicapped, because they don't understand all the problems that are going on. You know, they don't care. Most of these guys and girls are extremely happy. You know, I don't think I've ever met somebody that was mentally handicapped that wasn't smiling. I mean, yeah, sometimes they cry, but I mean, these guys have the aspect of love that none of us will. You know, there was a mentally handicapped kid in school that people would pick on. And I stood up for the kid. Because he couldn't do it. He didn't understand. Like, he thought he was all Mr. Popular. He wasn't popular. These guys were trashing this kid every turn. Anytime he did something wrong, anytime that he just was sitting there, they were trashing him the whole time. None of these guys were even remotely nice to this kid. I started back in his play. The teachers were sitting there making jokes about him. I'd call the teachers out. You know, I don't care how old you are. You pick on somebody that can't defend themselves, that makes you the bitch, not the guy or the girl. If you got to go so low as to pick on somebody who can't understand, or who does not understand, rather, that you are picking on them, for one, you're a dick. Or a bitch, depending on what sex you are. Actually, no, it's about the same. You're trash. You don't deserve anything you have if you have to sit there and go solo to pick on somebody with a mental disability. And everybody's like, oh, you're bullying. I'm not bullying. I hate bullying. You know, like I said, when I was in school, all my friends were the geeks. The geeks, the stoners. I didn't hang out with jocks. Because all the jocks that I met are three kinds of people. They're fucking dumb. They get everything handed to them on a silver platter. And the only thing they can do is sports. That's the only reason why these guys get to college. And most of them flunk out of college because they're fucking stupid. And see, high school is different than college. In high school, you're forced to go to school. If you don't go to school, cops will be called, and your ass will go to jail for truancy, and your parents will too. If not, get just a citation. In college, they don't give a fuck if you don't go. That's your money going down the toilet. Now, if you're lucky enough to get a scholarship, then at least you tried. You know, a lot of people flunk out of college because college is harder than high school. You don't have your parents come up to you, hey Timmy, it's time to go to school. You don't have that. You got to get off your lazy ass and go to school. And most people live in the dorms. You live in the dorms. You're right there at the school. Just get up and go. You know, do your schoolwork. You know, I did some college classes. They're easy. They even have tutors. See, in my school, they had this thing called I think it was called a TA, a teacher's assistant. Some of them have them, some of them don't. And she would help them, but the only problem was the particular TAs I had, unless you were a jock, a cheerleader, yeah, unless you were a jock or cheerleader, she didn't pay attention to you. She didn't give two shits about you. There were a couple of them out there that were really good. Some of them. They were really nice people. And everybody's like, why didn't you play football in school? Why didn't you do wrestling in school? I didn't see the point of doing any of the sports in school because I didn't see a point. You know, like I said, I did martial arts. So, while everybody else was out running into each other and grab-assing each other, I was kicking the shit out of people. Now, granted, you know, you have judo, which you literally use people's momentum against them. You have Shotokan, which is literally power punching, power kicking. Everything you do has a powerful intent behind it. It is designed to hurt people. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is just ground and pound. Like I said, I love UFC. But Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is just rolling on the ground, beating the hell out of each other. Now, granted, there is skill behind it. And I'm not taking anything away from these guys. And not because I'm scared of them. It's because I respect these guys because they put their bodies through hell. You know, like I said, I did backyard wrestling. You know, I tried the Greco-Roman wrestling thing, but I couldn't see myself in a leotard. And on top of that, nobody told me it wasn't WWE, so when a kid did a shoot wrestling move at me, I powerbombed him. I picked his ass up and dropped his ass. And then I laid on top of him for a pin. And everybody was like, what the fuck? The coach came out all pissed off, growling, whatever. So I didn't do wrestling. When I was in 3rd grade, I tried out for the football team. Back then it was Sedan. It was called the Sedan Blue Devils. They're still around. And I was a quiet kid. I got bullied a lot because there was this guy. I still remember his name, but I'm not gonna name him. He was a big old fat kid, and he was basically the jackass of the group. Do anything to get a laugh out of people, as he himself was extremely depressed. And he took my earpiece out of my helmet, stuck it down his pants. I mean, I got him back later. Fucking headbutt his ass with a helmet on. Anyway, I was molested as a child. I've told people this story before. Doesn't bother me at all. I was very little. I wasn't raped. I was molested. I was touched. I wasn't, penetrated or anything like that. Yes, the fucker made me do some things that I definitely don't want to remember, but it'll haunt me for the rest of my life. Like I said, it doesn't bother me now. I don't have dreams about it. I barely think about it unless it's brought up. But anyways, I told the coach the whole good game pat on the ass thing. I said, don't do that to me. And I warned him, if you do it, I'm going to headbutt you with my helmet on. He didn't believe me. He did it. I don't know if he did it out of spite because he didn't believe me, or if he just did it because it's a normal reaction to grab another dude's ass after a good game. I don't get it. But he did that to me. I turned around and headbutt his ass. Knocked out his teeth, broke his nose. When they pulled me into the office, they asked me why I did that. And I told them I warned him I was going to do it because he smacked my ass. They didn't sue. There were no charges done because I warned him. I had witnesses that were there that heard me warn him. Like I said, I've been bullied all my life. Mainly because, especially when I was younger, I didn't have a dad growing up. I didn't know what it meant to be a dude. What it meant to be an alpha male, if you will. And the only male figure I had in my life was my uncle, who was constantly in and out of prison. When I did see him, we had a good time, He would build stuff, I'd go with him, We had a great time. He was like the other dad for me. May not have been the best father figure, but he was at least there. And that's not taking anything away from my father. I love my father. I look just like him. And when me and my father talk, he's a good guy. And it's funny how much alike I am, how much me and him are alike, even though he wasn't around me most of my life. Everybody's like, oh, you act like who you're around. To an extent. Because I walk, talk, and act just like my father. Which, according to my mom when I was younger, was a terrible thing. That was one of the biggest issues. Was, you're just like your father. You're just like your father. That shit hurt. And it took me 16 years to finally stand up to my mother and tell her, I'm just like you because you raised me. And then I met the guy and I was like, oh, fuck, I am just like him. We have the same ideology. And like I said, wasn't raised by him or nothing. He's an atheist, just like I am. He's a very critical thinker like I am. He's a hell of a lot better mechanic than I am. And he's a hell of a lot better martial artist than I am. But the reason why he is because he went with one martial art. I've studied a variety of martial arts. I don't do katas, which anybody who doesn't know martial arts, kata is that Kia. That's a kata. It's part of the style that you're in. He's like a 2nd or 3rd degree black belt in Shotokan. He's a badass. My stepmom, the woman he married, they had a kid. My little brother, who's a phenomenal guy. He's going to college. He has his own band. He's an excellent singer. He's a guitar player, excellent guitar player. He's a great kid. I don't hate him for the fact that he had my father and I didn't. My sister does, on the other hand. She hates him for no fucking reason. Yes, my father remarried, had a kid with a woman. My parents, when they had me, were both barely old enough to buy cigarettes. They were teenagers. And they were young, dumb kids. They made a mistake. I was an oopsie. So was my sister. We're all oopsies. But I can't blame him for that. I don't blame him. I don't blame him for not being able to talk to me all the time because he works his ass off. And just like me, he has a very forgetful mind. But that's going to be for a different video. In this video, I just wanted to talk about this bullshit oppression thing. You're not being oppressed. Stop making excuses on why your life is miserable. Your life is miserable because you made it that way. You can get yourself out of the ghetto. You can get yourself out of poverty. It's not easy, but you can do it. Anybody can do it. If you say, "Oh, well, I don't have an education," go back to school. You can work a full-time job, go home, and get on the computer for a couple hours and get your high school diploma. It's not that hard. You can go to night school and do it. Hell, it's cheaper to do courses on the computer than it is to go to actual school. In fact, according to a lot of statistics, and I mean like statistics from colleges, like Berkeley and Yale and all these other major colleges, kids that were homeschooled, kids that did online computer classes were a lot smarter than the ones who went to schools. It's like I say to people that say, "Oh, I got a high school diploma. I went through high school." Good. You slacked off for 4 years and still got a high school diploma. Good for you. And like I said, I'm not taking anything away from these people. Some of these people are brilliant. My cousins, for example, very brilliant. They're judgmental pricks, but they're very brilliant. My mom, my dad, they're very brilliant people. Sometimes I think they're a little judgmental. My dad, for one, is a 100% Democrat, which I don't see how you can be 100% of anything. Why would you want to believe everything that's being thrown at you by the news? Research something. And granted, he has, like I said, my dad's a preacher. He has a lot of stuff he's got to do. He's constantly working at the church. He's constantly helping people. Sometimes I've been around that man for over 20 years now. You pick up on things in 20 years. You can tell when it's driving him nuts that he has to go back and help this person again. And again, and again. Some people would rather you fix their problem than them fix their own problem. And that's where this oppression comes from. Instead of saying, "I have a problem, I need to fix it," they're saying, "I have a problem, you need to fix it." Why? Your problem has nothing to do with me. Why should I have to take time out of my day where I could be spending time with my wife, my dogs, I could be gaming out on the PlayStation or the computer, I could be watching stuff on the universe, which I love watching because it just proves everything wrong about the whole flat earth thing. Researching historical stuff, working on my car. I have so much other stuff that I could better use my time, but I'm taking time out of my day to help you with your fucking problem. Why? I will help you get to where you can fix it yourself, but I'm not going to fix your problem yourself. I'm not going to fix your problem for you. And that's what this whole oppression thing is about. They are bitching because they're like, "Oh, I didn't get my way when I was a little girl or a little boy, so you got to fix my problems now." No. Get off your ass and fix your own damn problems. You think my life is easy? I've been homeless. I've had everything that I've ever owned go up in a fire. I got kicked out of a house because my sister's ex-wife was a cunt bag. I've been through some shit, but I'm not a victim. My parents said one of the things they love about me is I don't ask for help unless I absolutely positively need it. And even then, they can tell it's hard for me to ask. Because they raise me to be independent. Not dependent on somebody else, independent. If something happened between me and my wife, it would suck. It would be very hard. But I would find a way to make it work. I'm not saying something will happen. I love this woman. She loves me. Granted, we're still in the honeymoon stage, but we've been together for like 7 years now. You know, nothing's going to change. I still love this chick. She may drive me nuts, but I love her. But, you know, when someone says, oh, I'm oppressed. No, you're not. You're just lazy. Get off your butt and do something. And I see this all the time. You know, I have friends that are like this. I have family members that are like this. You know, get off your ass and fix the problem. Nobody is oppressing you now. Nobody has ever oppressed you. If you're under the age of 60, you don't even know what it means to be oppressed. You don't. Because you weren't oppressed. Now, your grandparents, and possibly your parents maybe, depending on how old they were when they had you, may have been oppressed. But you yourself are not. If you ask an older person, we're the spoiled generation. You know, my sister, who swears up and down that she's been oppressed, is only a few years older than me. I mean, come on. You weren't oppressed, honey. And there was a kid I went to school with who claimed up and down that he was oppressed, he was oppressed, he was oppressed. It drove me nuts, irritated me to the end of the world. It irritated the hell out of me. I didn't say anything. You know, I probably should have, but then again, we probably wouldn't be friends anymore because he was one of those, oh, you're white, so you have no idea. About oppression? In today's society? No, I don't. I don't see any oppression. I wouldn't know what it was because I never lived through it. You know, I mean, I've lived through racism. I've had people be racist towards me. I've never seen racism towards a black person, racism towards a Mexican. I've had all these people be racist towards me, and I see it all the time. It's in the way people act. You know, I mean, granted, not everybody out there hates white people. In fact, you shouldn't hate us. You should love us, because we love you. I'm not saying, oh, peace, love, and harmony, this is the 70s again. No, I'm saying if people are raised properly with a mother and a father, or somewhere around that odds, you weren't oppressed. You know, when they were saying, oh, well, you know, inherent racism or just all this bullshit about race. There's nothing going on with racism, dude. If someone is racist, they are stupid. They're a dumb, ignorant fool. If someone is being racist towards you, don't hang out with them. If someone is being a racist, don't hang out with them at all. You know, granted, like I said, I have family members that are a bit on the racist side. I don't hang out with them. I don't see a reason to. Because there's no point. You know, like a lot of people are like, oh, well, you said the N-word when you were younger. Yeah, I did say it, but I wasn't portraying it as a racial slur. I was using it as an actual word that it actually means. The actual word does not mean a black person. The N-word literally means basically a slob. Somebody who would rather live off of welfare and not do a fucking thing with their life, even though they have every capability to do it. That's what that word means. It is not a racial slur towards black people. Hell, when I was growing up, and a lot of people are going to take this word offensive, but when I was growing up, the word spade was actually what you would call a shovel. It is a type of shovel. When we moved into the city, one of my friends who happened to be black, yes, I had black friends, we were sitting there and I was like, I need to go to Walmart and get a spade. He went apeshit on me. Nearly tried to fight me. Until I told him, I was like, dude, it's a type of shovel. Like, I was literally innocent in the thing. I was not trying to make a racial slur or anything. I didn't even know it was a racial slur until he told me what it meant in his eyes. And I was like, well, that's just fucking stupid. Why would I call somebody a shovel? Just like when somebody calls a homosexual a fag. So you're calling him a cigarette. You're calling him a bundle of sticks. A bundle of sticks you use for kindling and a fire. I never got it. You know, I mean, I think it's just because I have a literal mind. You know, I look at things more literal, even though I do joke around a lot. And I do. I love making jokes. I love joking around. I love making people laugh. But in the end of the day, if someone's going to try to be serious about what I'm talking about, or someone's trying to take something a little too offensive, I instantly go literal. Like a great example, when I get into an argument with somebody, my mind instantly switches from being comical to being literal. You know, it's one of the reasons why when me and my wife get in an argument, the argument usually escalates quick. And not like a violent argument, like just some stupid argument over something retarded. Something that has no merit, like there's no reason to argue about it, but that's how arguments are. 90% of arguments, there's no reason behind it. And that's the first thing I'll ask. Is there a logical reason why you're making this argument, or are you just wanting to rant? And it's not just with my wife. I ask it with everybody. You know, is there a logical reason why you're basically bitching about this? Now, granted, I won't say that to everybody, but there are some people where sometimes you gotta be literal with them. Because if not, they're just gonna walk all over you. Again, with the suppression thing, I've never seen it. Never even heard of it. I mean, I've heard of it in the past, but in today's society, I don't see it. I haven't seen it. And anybody who says they've seen it are just making excuses. I mean, yeah, sure, there are police officers out there that are dickheads, that are dumb, idiotic, racial fucks, and these guys deserve to lose their badges and get buried underneath the fucking prison. Same with a woman beater. Same with a child molester. They deserve to be castrated and buried under the prison. And racism isn't just with white people against blacks. I've had black people and Mexicans, even Chinese people, hate me because of my skin color. Like I said, I've been racist upon, but I've never been racist towards people. I don't see a point in it. When someone's being racist towards me, I'm like, what's your point? Yes, I'm a white dude. Yes, I'm one generation away from fucking redneck trailer trash. What else you got? You don't have anything. You know, and like I said, jokes are jokes. I'll laugh at a white joke. I'll laugh at a black joke. I'll laugh at a Mexican joke. I've heard them all my life. They're just jokes. You know, like I said, victimhood is stupid. Stop playing victim. That's all you're doing. Anytime you're making an excuse, blaming somebody else for your problems, you're being childish for one. If you can't man up and say, well, this is my mistake, I've got to fix it. You're saying, oh, well, this is my mistake, but you have to fix it. You know, you're the reason why this happened, even though I had nothing to do with what the hell just happened. You're playing victim. You know, oh, I'm oppressed. Oh, I'm hated upon. No, you're not. Nobody hates you because of your skin color, your sexual orientation, or who you plan on fucking at night. Whatever you do in your own doors is what you do, man. Or woman. Again, only two genders. If we would just stop with this shit, with all this racial politics, all this sexual orientation politics, we just stop with all of it. We united again like we did in 2001, America would thrive. And people would actually open their eyes and see what's really the fuck going on. Granted, yes, I debate with people a lot, which is literally just arguing. When it comes to like flat earthers or, you know, I guess religion, I do that for fun. You know, it is fun. Especially when you're arguing with somebody who has no point. who has no evidence whatsoever. It's always fun to argue with idiots like that. Anyway, like I said, you're not oppressed. Grow up, get off your ass, and fix the problem. I'm going to get off here now. Y'all have a good night.